us first.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome to Church of the Savior. You guys can say good evening back. I am Paul Miller, and I serve here as the pastor at Church of the Savior. And it is great to have you all with us and to have the New Jersey Wind Symphony Flutes with us, which is fantastic as well. Kristen in the middle there is often performs, or not performs, but worships with us and shares her talents at worship service. She did this past Sunday, and she is fantastic. So I trust she hangs out with good company, and we are in for a good treat on this wonderful May the 4th. So may the 4th be with you all. And wait for the song. So you have a program in front of you. There is a free will offering in the back. Everything in that free will offering will go to the New Jersey Winds. How they divide it up among themselves will be among them. Maybe whoever plays the best gets it. I don't know. You guys can figure that one out among yourselves. But nothing will stay here. So it's strictly for these guys as they share their professional talents with us. And if you need a restroom, it's downstairs. You use the elevator or the stairs, but it's basically right below us, head in the back. They're going to play straight through. So, and then there's some very light refreshments, and I emphasize light, but there are refreshments nonetheless where you can share and converse afterwards. Feel free to take pictures, right? Pictures good. If you post it on Instagram, tag COS Paramus NJ as well. Let them know you're here. And follow us on Instagram as well. And we worship every Sunday at 10 a.m., so you can come back tomorrow morning. But in the meantime, without further ado, I welcome this wonderful ensemble, so thank you for sharing your gifts with us.
Nice arrangement of the Mozart for 8 flutes. You're probably wondering maybe about some of these flutes, and maybe it's a good time to introduce our flutes to you. Our flute family is very extended. We go from the very tippy top of the register to the very lowy low of the register. So we have piccolo at the top of the register. Piccolo is usually made out of wood, sometimes it's made out of plastic, sometimes it's made out of metal. Timomis is made out of granadilla wood, and it has a conical bore to help excuse me, the upper register come out. So that's the piccolo, and then we have lots of different C flutes here. Everybody hold up your C flute. Some of these flutes are made out of silver, some of them are made out of gold, some are made out of platinum, and some are a mixture of all those. So we have different mixtures of metals on all of our instruments. The next one we have is an alto flute. And we have alto flutes with straight head joints and alto flutes with curved head joints. It's the same pitch. Alto-wise, it's a perfect fourth difference. But some are straight and some are curved because some of us have shorter arms and it's just easier to reach if the head joint is curved. So that is the alto flute. Sounds a little bit more mellow than the C flute. Then we have bass flute, and Joe right here is holding a vertical bass. There are also horizontal held basses with also the curved head joint. And then the newest member of our family is the contrabass flute, which David was playing for the Mozart. And that gets passed around to different players, and we have our little alcohol swabs ready to go when we're playing them.
Just swab, we're all set.
That's right, so all set. So yeah, that's our flute family. Our next piece is going to be it's called Flutum Mysterium by Gary Schocker, who is also a flutist. And he writes a lot of different music. He is extremely prolific with his flute repertoire. He writes for solo flute, flute ensemble, flute and piano. Yeah, I think he still lives in New York somewhere, so he's very active. Everybody ready? Okay. Okay, Gary Schocker. Lighting keeps changing. Okay, while we do our little switcheroni, I would like to bring up Laura Stedge, who's our narrator for this piece. It's a piece called The Legend of the Sleeping Bear. Be prepared, you might cry a little. When we typed out the program, we did not know that we were going to have a conductor, which we're very, very pleased that we have a conductor today, and I'd like to introduce Mike Connor up to the stage. Thank you for conducting us, Mike. Oh no. Yeah. Thanks for adjusting the height too. So we always have to adjust the peg height too. So I'm the shortest one who plays it, so it's pretty much all the way on the floor when I play it. And I'm wearing heels, so. Okay.
Once upon a time, in a deep green forest by a deep blue lake, lived a mother bear and her 2 bear cubs. They loved their forest home. It was full of birches and birds and berries. They feared the lake. It was as huge as the sea, so vast they couldn't see the other side. But it was clear and cold and clean, and that summer day the cubs were snoozing on the warm sand while their mother fished in the shallows. Suddenly, their mother stood up and sniffed the air. Sharp, crackling sounds and bright comets and frightened, frantic foxes flew from the forest. Trees turned to torches behind them. Sparks exploded overhead. It was fire. Mother Bear hurried to her cubs and said, "Follow me, my little bears. We must swim to safety. Stay close to me." They plunged into the lake. It was deep, it was cold. It was so very, very far to the other side. They swam and swam through the hot, smoky day, through the long, spangled night. Mother Bear kept listening for her cubs. It was hard to see them in the darkness. The cubs tried so very hard. The splashes their paws made were smaller and smaller, and further back and further back. They were so very tired, so very cold, so very sleepy. When dawn came, Mother Bear, so tired, so cold, listened and listened. And heard nothing but her own splashes and morning birds calling. And she looked and looked, and saw nothing but the radiant, cruel dawn and an empty shore waiting. Her feet finally touched bottom. She crawled onto the beach and sank her tired body to the sand. She closed her eyes and listened and listened. She was alone. She gazed out at the lake, at the cold, silent lake, and cried, "My little bears, don't lose heart. I'm here on land. I'm calling you." Swim, little bears, don't lose heart. It's not much further. I'm waiting for you. She watched and called and waited through the day, through the night. She pulled her weary body up a high dune so she could see better. Through another day and another night, she waited. Through the autumn, through the winter, through the spring, she waited. Through the seasons, one after another, she waited. She waited on her high dune, but her little bears never came. Little by little, year after year, the warm sand blew over her body, gently blanketing her as she waited. And then one day, the great Manitou, honoring her devoted vigil, gave up her two little cubs and lifted them from where they'd slipped under so long ago to be deep green islands in the deep blue lake, warm and kissed by the sun, where their waiting mother could watch them from her high dune forever.
Piece is called Variations on an Ancient Pavan. You're probably going to recognize this tune, maybe, maybe not, but it's a theme in variations. It's a beautiful rendition by Irvin Monroe, who is also a flutist, so that is what our program is all about today. Flutists writing for flutes. Contra-fusion. So obviously we'll have the contrabass flute playing, but we also each have an alto flute or a bass flute, and there's one C flute doubling on the contrabass. So it's going to be a little low. Should we take a turn now? And we are going to send you off into the night on this very special May the 4th, which is a Star Wars day. So you will recognize this tune, I'm sure, and May the 4th be with you. Yes, repeat. Yes, repeat. Yes, repeat. coming. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.